Smack contains spoilers of the spoiling type. If you don't want your spoilers spoiled, please turn back now. Otherwise, enjoy the show!
Greetings, Smackers of Cinema. Welcome to another episode of Cinesmack, the podcast about films by filmmakers. I'm Gabe, and I'll be your host for this episode. Mike has the month off. Well, sort of. He's not hosting this month, but he's joining us tonight as a member of the regular panel. So please welcome Mike Keeler, the owner of Southsider Studios and all-around aficionado of all things filmy.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Sam. Gabe, what the fuck are you doing here?
What? Why? Am I not supposed to be here?
It's a quote from American Pie.
Oh, it is? Oh, sorry. I didn't know his name was Gabe. Okay, also joining us tonight is the owner of Outpost 515 Productions and producer of the quickly approaching Des Moines 48-hour film project, Mr. Samuel Pace-Twamy.
Good evening, Cinesmackers. What's up?
And finally, joining us is the owner of Cheshire Moon Films, Mr. Tom Haggis.
Just like my virginity, I see you're saving the best for last. Thank you, Gabe.
Yes. You're welcome.
You know, now that you bring up that the 48's coming up quick, I'm starting to have a mild panic attack, but I'm all right. Go ahead.
I know. I can't believe I'm actually conscious right now, so I should be panicking into a state of catatonia, but I'm still here, I guess. Okay, fellas, we'll get right to it. Let's find out which movies we're smacking up tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, band campers and tallywhackers, welcome to the main event. Tonight, it's a schoolhouse brawl as teams from the 50s take on teams from the 90s to see who gets lucky at prom and who gets dumped in the swamp. In the first corner, from 1982, directed by Bob Clark, starring Dan Monahan, Mark Harrier, and Wyatt Knight, Porky! In the second corner, from 1999, directed by Paul Weitz, starring Jason Biggs, Chris Klein, and Thomas Ian Nichols, American Pie.
So we're going sophomoric. We're smacking below the belt this month and working on with a what?
Way below.
Way below, yes. And we're working with a couple of classic coming-of-age films. And like I said, we'll just get right into it, and we'll go into writing.
All right. Well, geez, what can I say about the writing? I felt like Porky's was more of an anti-American Graffiti film. Like the guy almost just sat down and was like, okay, everything about American Graffiti, I'm going to go the opposite way. Set it in the 50s, of course, but then everything's going to be raunchy. And as far as American Pie is concerned, I think I was just right in the age group. I mean, I was 3 years out of high school, so it kind of hit me a little bit harder as far as the writing is concerned. Now, don't get me wrong, all the characters are caricatures of people. They're not really fleshed out, maybe except for Jason Biggs, I could see a little bit, but everyone else, it's kind of the Friends version of the sophomoric comedy. And Porky's is the same way, except there's one female and she's a whore. She sleeps with all the guys. So, Tom, Sam, what you got to say about it?
It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Now, I appreciate the whole coming of age tale. Like, it's been a while since I'd seen Porky's all the way through. And the movie that I watched and what I thought I remembered about it were kind of two different things. I don't know how, like, did either you guys had that when you went back and watched Porky's?
Oh, yeah, I totally had it messed up.
This was the first time I saw Porky's.
This was or wasn't the first time?
This was the first time I'd ever seen it, yeah.
I have to admit, I couldn't remember, but this was the first time I've seen it too. And it was not what I expected.
My mom wouldn't let me watch it till I was 37, so It's been on the list for a couple months, and I wrote her a thank you note for putting it off so long.
This was one of those jewels that was on HBO and Cinemax that like having
All
cable
the time.
you could watch all the like shower shots and like look it's boobs and bush and
Yeah.
like I know this is the writing category, but that's definitely what I remembered as a kid.
So great writing for when you were a kid, right?
Right.
So do you think that's what was in the script?
I would love to see it in the script how it is when she like grabs on his pecker and like pulls it. Like if they're very vivid about that or how they describe it. There's some fun stuff there. I think American Pie is just so more modern that it's they play as two different movies, even though one is supposed to be set way back in the past. Because of when it's set, it feels to me not naughty like it did when I was 12 or younger.
Right. And Bob Clark said that he kind of based it a little bit on his high school and college life. So I mean, I imagine not to the extreme that this went, but it was a there's a little bit of truth in there. Where I don't know, but yeah.
Well,
what do you think, Tom?
I don't know. I mean, both of the stories are. I found I don't know. I couldn't really relate to either of the stories, to be honest with you. I mean, this isn't what high school was like for me at all. And I know it probably was for some people. And Porky's came out when I was 6, so it was it was a little bit below me. And then that was a joke, guys. 'Cause 6.
Would you blow me?
No, it was below my 6-year-old intellect. And then American Pie came out as I was graduating college, and it was one of those. 1999 was one of those. Oh, it's American Beauty and Cider House Rules and The Matrix, and then American Pie comes out, and you're just like, yeah, but I'd rather go see The Matrix again. And I was kind of the snooty college kid that we've talked about before on the show, and I had just finished all my film classes in '99. Yeah,
I was just making a reference to the snooty. Go ahead.
Yes, snooty, and I was a film snob, and I just finished my film classes, and I was about Leni Riefenstahl and Orson Welles and bullshit like that, and American Pie it came out, and I just I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, oh, there's another film for the masses, but it's really funny. I'm sorry, but American Pie is really hilarious.
It is.
It is. It's funny and it's titillating too. Like I watched it. I was about ready to graduate. I was a year away from graduating from college. But I love the sexy feeling of it because, in a way, it took kind of the, I don't know, Porky seems kind of stale in comparison to American Pie. That's, it's brash, it's funny, and it populated with these characters that you don't have to get to know that deeply to enjoy. Whereas, when I was watching this Porky's with my husband who had never seen it, one of his comments was the writing and the characters. It was so heavy on getting to know them, but the situation that the way the script was set up didn't present you a chance to get to know those characters and really care about them.
Right. I agree with you, Sam.
Yeah, I think if we had gotten to know Porky's a little bit better, I think it would have been a completely different film. He would have been the victim.
Right. Yeah, and that's you got a good point, but
he's just a small businessman.
Also, he's a very large businessman.
Yeah,
hey!
running a small business.
With what Sam was saying, you do feel a little bit more for the American Pie characters more than you do the Porky's. Like, you only really get to know the one guy who his father beats him. So you kind of feel bad about that, and the Jewish guy, like you see that get resolved, but everyone else is just kind of there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think the writing in American Pie, I think in a way just endears you to it and draws you into the story. And even though it's zanier and even more over the top and kind of dirty, you seem like you're at the party. You're at that party meeting all those people and you're in on the joke.
Right.
And on a very basic level, American Pie has a story, and Porky's doesn't really have that much of a story. I mean, there's not a whole lot there. It's not, in terms of beginning, middle, and end. Whereas American Pie, it has a resolution, and it's Harold and Kumar level basicness to it. But
yes.
it's at least it's got that going for it. So
So I'm wondering what you guys think the significance of setting Porky's in the 50s was. What was, the drive to set it in that time period?
It might have been when he was in high school. What's his name? Bob Clark.
Blob Clark.
Clob Bark. When he was in high school. Yeah, that could have been just around the time when he was of that age, so he just set it back then.
Could be, because I didn't see any significant reason why that particular movie and those characters and that story had to be set in the 50s necessarily.
Well, and that's why I feel like it's the anti-American Graffiti. American Graffiti, it's all about the guy. He is wanting to be with the girl, but these guys, they just want to be with any girl, And
right.
And if you look at Pee-wee, he's kind of the main character, and then if you look back at American Pie, and little Ron Howard is the main character. There's a lot of similarities there, both gingers, both about the same height. I don't know. Both have small wieners.
I know we'll talk about this in directing, but how do you go from Porky's to Porky's 2 to A Christmas Story?
Exactly.
Well,
there's a little bit. I think there's a little bit of trivia involved with that as well.
Cool.
That we can talk about.
Oh, do you have some trivia?
Well, I'm working on it.
All right.
We'll see if we have any trivia by the time we get there.
It's kind of surprising too, because Bob Clark eventually goes on to do Baby Geniuses and Baby Geniuses 2, which are among the worst films ever made. So, I sometimes I watch Christmas Story with my hands on my head, just going, how did this even happen?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of weird. I didn't even put two and two together. This is our second Bob Clark film that we've done on Cinesmack. So that would make sense. I mean, isn't he? Didn't he say that he kind of based A Christmas Story around when he was a kid? So that's what, the late 40s. So around in the 50s, he'd be in high school. Yeah. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think Baby Geniuses and Porky's and Christmas Story make the Bob Clark trifectas, because he talks about how, Baby Geniuses is what it was like when he was a baby.
Right.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's dead. So, anyway.
Vote.
I think Sam's done with talking about writing.
All right. So what's your vote on the writing categories, guys? How about you, Mike?
I'm going American Pie.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah, I better go American Pie too.
Okay.
No, just the first one, Tom. You didn't have to watch the second one.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, American Pie, the first one.
And Sam?
I'm going to go with the pie as well.
All right. So our next category is acting.
Oh, there's so much to say about the acting in these two movies. I'm going to vote. No. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm voting for American Pie because in my heart of hearts, I love Allison Hannigan so much. And she's so funny and beautiful. And that's the big two I'm always looking for. So, but I'm married, so I'm not looking anymore. So my wife doesn't listen to the show. It's so cool. So I love Allison Hannigan, and I think for some reason, she's one of the people that makes American Pie the most watchable for me. I am always dying for the next scene with her on screen because she is absolutely so hilarious, and I know where it's going to. She's making all these band camp comments, and you're just like, oh, you little minx, you got secrets. Does nobody else do that? I was expecting a bigger laugh. Anyway, so this got awkward. Whereas Porky's, I don't know. I mean, how much acting was there really in Porky's? It just seems like, they just seem like guys that like boobs and butts, and they're. I mean,
what's changed in that perspective? Like, lots of high schoolers like boobs and butts and whatnot.
No, okay, so watching these movies, you kind of reflect back on your own adolescence and what was it like for you going through these things? And I like I said, I couldn't really relate to either one of them very much. I mean, in American Pie, I'm not even going to talk about the Porky's gang, but in American Pie, you had, the guys were trying to lose their virginity through honesty and love and intellect, and for Jason Biggs, I guess luck. And for me, it was humor. So I couldn't relate to these four guys. So for a while, I had actually forgotten about the Sherman character. And I was like, that's actually kind of what it was like for me. And then it got to the end. No, let me finish. And it got to the dance, and I was like, oh, wait, no, it wasn't like that at all. So,
oh, Shermanator.
Yeah,
so that happened to you, huh?
No, not at all. I would see, and that's the thing. I would never tell somebody that I did that when I hadn't, because I went to a very small school, and people would have just like turned around 180 degrees and been like, "Is this true?" That's how small the school was. So yeah, it was very different. So,
now, didn't you?
What about you guys? When did you get laid?
No, wait, Tom. Didn't you go to school where Election was filmed?
That's actually true. So yeah. I went to a Catholic school for 3 years, a small Catholic school in Omaha, and then they closed after my junior year. And then I went to a bigger school where they shot Election for my senior year. Yes, that's absolutely true.
Well, that explains why you're such a heathen now. So.
It is, yeah. Because I shunned the Catholic Church because they closed my school. Mm-hmm. And but my virginity did not follow me to my senior year of high school without giving away too much information. So,
all right.
Yeah.
I think the ensemble is, to me, more approachable, and as an audience member, just like more easily engageable. It's got to be American Pie.
Absolutely.
And it's got old and young. It's got a whole mix of ages. Where, I mean, and this isn't probably another category, but the tendency at Porky's time in the 80s to cast old, like it was just impossibly old for high school. Like these guys had some of them are ready to retire and they're playing high school. Like it's horrible. It's really bad.
Yeah.
So it's harder to get to know them, and then the script doesn't give them much more than just, you're obsessed with sex and you're Pee-wee. And,
yeah. You have a little wiener and the guy named Meat has a big one, and
it'd be more fun. I think it'd be funnier if they were reverse nicknames, honestly. Like, some kind of shenanigans there. They got mixed up, and then I don't know.
I thought Jennifer Coolidge was fantastic in American Pie too. She's great in everything she does, and she's fantastic. So,
well, you get Sean William Scott, who I always think is a lot of fun. Chris Klein is.
That was his first film. Him that's, Sean William Scott. That was his first film.
Yeah, it was.
And the only one that stood out for me, and I mean, it was just the small role, and that's the guy who played Mongo from Blazing Saddles.
Yeah,
who played
the policeman.
Yeah,
he played Sheriff Wallace.
Yeah, and I just I liked his mannerisms, just how he talked, like when they were trying to get out of the police station. It was just funny to me, but everyone else, like you said, seemed like they were 30 playing teenagers, and it didn't work for me as far as believability.
Yeah. That's exactly.
But I just want to point out how hot Kim Cattrall is in
I know.
the movie.
That was funny. That was surprising to me. Oh. I saw her name in the credits, and then I saw her on screen a couple times, and I didn't realize it was her. I'm like, oh, that's Kim Cattrall.
It's from all the Sex and the City you watched. You just
right. I'm used to her being
used
blonde
to the older Cattrall.
Yeah, she kind of kept it in check in this one.
I always think mannequin when I think
same here.
There you go.
But she is extremely good looking in this movie, and I really like the acting from the black guy that's supposed to run out with the machete, and how he's like laughing so hard, and the whole let's just get to it right now. The tallywhacker scene when Ballbreaker or whatever her name is, Ballbreaker is trying to get the principal to do a lineup. That is
right.
Every time I lose my shit, I laugh until I cry just because of the guys in the background. Like for the longest time, I had no idea what she was saying because I was too busy laughing at those two guys. And
the assistant coach guy is funny out throughout the whole thing as he's trying to relay the whole Lassie thing, and
Right.
Like, it's just, and when you know that's coming, I think it's even funnier.
Yeah.
To watch that, because it's just the other guy has no idea, and there's going to be a huge payoff there. But to me, I think the tallywhacker scene and her pulling on the tallywhacker in the shower was like the most jarring of that stuff that I remembered. And then I got done with it, and I'm just like, like, I mean, I know what it did. It was really well for what I think Universal at the time, but it doesn't, to me, have that kind of. I don't know. There's something missing. It seems a little dull.
The whole film?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It does. There's no meat to. Well, pardon the pun, but there's no meat. There's no meat to the sandwich. Like, it's just bread and bread, and it's a whole bunch of comedy. Like, you don't care for the characters.
Yeah.
There's no caring involved, except for the little bit that you get from the guy who has the dad that's been to prison.
Right.
And
I was going to say, didn't they kind of try to do that a little bit with those characters? Yeah.
But everyone else, you're just like, But with American Pie, I mean, you have American Pie is made for me by Eugene Levy. I love Eugene Levy, and him playing the father was just great. And that's almost like what Porky's was missing, was like an older, wiser man just trying to calm them down or send them the right way. I don't know. It just seemed like they were like, okay, here's a script, now act like teenagers. You could do whatever you want. Just say these lines.
I wonder how much of it was kind of ad-lib to a certain degree too.
Right.
Just kind of like, oh, we're going to roll the camera and you just act goofy.
And I agree totally with Tom on Alyson Hannigan. I think she's fantastic in it, and I've loved her in everything ever since.
Yeah.
And, well, let's talk about Shannon Elizabeth. There's the hottie in the film. Tara Reid, before she became all coked out.
How funny was that? Tara Reid acting as the prudish virgin. I was like, come on,
exactly.
Give her the Oscar.
Like now you're like, oh yeah, like that's ever gonna happen. But back then you actually believed it because she wasn't the coked out woman that she was. I don't know if she still is.
And kudos to John Cho for the biggest piece of trivia out of American Pie is that he was the first one to ever say MILF, and that's I think that's in the Webster Dictionary now, I believe.
You may be correct. I liked Eddie K. Thomas as Paul Finch. I liked. I didn't really care for Kevin. Thomas Ian Nichols. Yeah, it was all right. Chris Klein. I disagree with Sam. I like him, but there's something about him in this movie I didn't like.
I don't think he's that good in this movie. I think he's kind of wafy throughout most of his career, actually. But to me, Sean William Scott is awesome.
Sean William Scott just blew the doors off of it. It's Eugene Levy and Sean William Scott. And Jason Biggs did a fantastic job.
He did. Stifler's little brother, or whatever, the one that's like, fuckers. like that element is very fun. I like that too.
And Jennifer Coolidge, she's great. Tom's right on that. So and Mina Suvari, I've had a crush on since the film. So I'll add that. There you go.
All right. So are we ready for a vote? Or have we kind of already voted?
Sure.
I feel like I already have a couple of votes, but go ahead, Tom.
American Beauty. American
yes.
Pie. Sorry,
right.
sorry, not wrong. Mina Suvari film.
Exactly. I think that's the one where I saw her first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was memorable. Let's just say that's okay. And it's Sam.
I'm gonna buy American on this one.
All right, and you, Mike? Is he still there?
I'm sorry. I was thinking about Mina Suvari.
Okay. All right.
American Pie.
All right. Our next category is directing.
All right, and I'm gonna say American Pie. Okay.
Sam's
really into this episode, as you can tell.
No.
You can't underestimate Bob Clark's choice to put the camera looking through the hole into the shower. That puts you in the moment.
It does. It does.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
It was such a great choice. I mean, if I was standing there and I'm like, oh, maybe a POV here would be a good idea, seeing as how there's a hole in the wall and naked girls on the other side. So yeah, good choice there, Bob.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I agree, Tom. Directing of the two of these, I think the styles couldn't be more different. Granted that American Pie did enjoy a tremendous amount of success built on films like Porky's, and that type of really, for Porky's when it came across was kind of, considered raunchy, just as American Pie was when it came out. But for being kind of a hard R, I think, American Pie does owe something to Porky's, and it's kind of a, in some ways they kind of, allude to their shenanigans and whatnot. But as much as I like Bob Clark and some of his other work, Porky's to me felt really flat. It felt like, I don't know, it was kind of peppered with visually funny things, but it wasn't consistent all the way through. Whereas American Pie felt fresh, and at the time it was, I was around the age of the people that were on the screen, so maybe that contributed to me identifying it with it a little bit more. But I don't know, the way that it was done was loose enough so that I felt like I was there as part of the party, and so then the whole ride became a lot more personal than at any point that I've watched Porky's when I was young and foreboding to be watching it, or when I watched it the other night as an adult. Whereas American Pie, I still feel I'm part of that gang, and I haven't aged too much past that.
Yeah, I think there is some kind of disconnect there. I think you're right, Sam, that it was made for a different time. Porky's was, and American Pie kind of hit us at the right age to maybe be able to look back. We still had the fresh memories of when we were in high school, and could look back, high school and college, and just look back and laugh and say, well, yeah, something kind of like that, something kind of like this. But for me, the directing from Bob Clark was just kind of stale on it. And like I said earlier, it was like he handed him the script, make sure you say these words, you can do anything else you want. There was a lot of chaos, where in American Pie, it felt more like someone was in control. But I guess, you can have your controlled chaos, and you can have your control. But for me, American Pie just visually looking at it, and from what I know now, I enjoyed it much more than when I first saw it. I was just paying attention to the performance, the story, everything like that. But now looking at it and being able to kind of dissect it, there's Porky's just felt like a very basic, here's a tripod, put a camera on it, here you go, type of situation. And my time's up.
And around.
Somebody didn't silence their phone.
That was
me.
But Paul Weitz, who directed American Pie, that was his first film he directed. He also directed Down to Earth, About a Boy, Cracking Up, In Good Company, American Dreams, Circuit de Freak, Little Fockers, Bean Flynn, Admission, Mozart in the Jungle, and Grandma. I think I've seen Admission. Is that the one? I'm going to click on it. Yeah, see, it's not even memorable to me. But as far as Bob Clark is concerned, he actually has quite a bit. He started out shooting stuff in '66, it looks like. And there's a lot. He did like Turk 182. He did Christmas Story right after Porky's 2.
Right, and then I just saw, I never know he did Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, for that. Like,
Yeah.
What the hell? This guy's got an incredible career, but it's all over the fucking board.
It is. It is. And then there's Baby Geniuses that came out the same year as American Pie. Yeah, Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2 is 04, and The Karate Dog is his last film, 2005.
You know, what I thought is interesting as far as directing goes, look at the running times. Porky's at 94 minutes, American Pie at 95 minutes.
Yeah.
But don't you feel like you've done so much more at American Pie than Porky's? You kind of just hang out in one or two places for the whole time, and there you are. Whereas American Pie takes you through that whole. I think there's a lot more that happens in 95 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, you might as well change the name of the podcast to Cine Agree, because I mean that's a great analogy. You actually go on a journey in American Pie, and with Porky's, you're just there. You know, you're just viewing what's going on.
Yeah.
All right.
See, Cinna agree right there.
Yep, there you go.
I thought I was going to be on Cinnabons. That was what I signed up.
I'll send you some, Sam.
Okay.
I'll send you some.
Thank you.
I don't know what else to say about the directing except that it just there's just something missing with Porky's. I mean, there are some funny moments that still crack me up. Others disagree, but just knowing what I know, it just doesn't. There's something missing. There's no meat in a sandwich.
Yeah.
Put it on a T-shirt.
I mean, if you the tallywhacker scene. I mean, it's just one long take.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, does he get credit for saying, you know what, these actors are good enough on their own, just let them, even though it's framed real shittily, let's just leave it where it is? Or he's not really making film. He's kind of like filming a sketch, and
right.
That's where I'm watching. I'm like, this would be really funny, but it's just not grabbing me. Like,
are you talking about Porky's?
Yeah, Porky's, the tallywhacker scene when they're doing the scene that we had talked about with Brick Breaker and Dick Breaker, whatever her name is.
Ball Breaker.
Differently in some ways because Public is so much more to verite reality style now, whereas back in '82 it wasn't as prolific as it is now.
That could be. And I mean, it could be that the cameras are smaller. There's more ways to control the camera whilst being able to do dynamic shots. Mm-hmm. Where back then, you know, it would have taken a long time to set up something as dynamic as a crane shot or a dolly tilting panning shot, or you know, what however you want to go about your dynamic. Yeah, I think the technology's here now and back then. But I mean, look at some of the stuff Orson Welles did. You know, I'm sure I go right to the top of the list with Citizen Kane. But, you know, if you're on a budget and you only have a certain amount of time, maybe you can't set up those more dynamic shots and make it work.
I wonder what their budget. I mean, because it seems like they had a lot of money on Porky's. Like they spent too much on that fucking sign that says "Get it at Porky's." Like, but that sign's worth more than the whole rest of the building it was attached to. Like,
well, and the whole thing during the credits, you know, it just felt like, we'll just throw this all on after the credits because they want it at a certain time. You see what like? Here's the rest of the movie. We couldn't add it to it because of the runtime. So here, you get it with the credits.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny when she came running out of the woods, but and then who was it that turned and looked at the camera? And it wasn't it the guy that got attacked, and he's like, "Geez," or whatever. And it's like, why did you break the fourth wall?
Right.
Right at the very end. Right?
Yeah.
It was like a freeze frame right after he said that.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, very strange. I mean, I know we didn't really talk about it in the writing, but yeah, very strange ending.
Budget was $4 million, by the way.
It was just like, oh my god, and then they just kept rolling through the credits, and it's like, this is kind of a mess at the end. It just keeps going in some weird way.
Yeah. It's Tom said sketches. It's a compilation of sketches. There's some really funny sketches in there, but that's it.
Yeah.
Someone's.
Cine Agree is no fun.
Yeah.
Great.
You know,
right.
I'll save it for overall. That's fine.
Okay. Let's go ahead and vote on the directing category. So, Sam.
I'm gonna go American Pie.
All right. Mike?
American Pie.
All right. And Tom.
I gotta go American Pie. I can't even like joke go for Porky's.
Ever since I've watched them, I've been thinking about this. Like, I don't want it to be a shutout, but if we're doing two movies and one is just resonates with you more, you got to vote for it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like Sunshine in the Core.
Yeah. Even though the Core is a very guilty pleasure of mine.
Right, or I would say Thumbsucker versus Chum Scrubber, both of which are very dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So
now we're kind of rolling into overall, right?
Right. Well, just a quick bit of trivia about the directing. As we've already discussed, Bob Clark, which was a surprise to me at the time, as we've discussed, directed A Christmas Story. Now, apparently, this was a movie that he wanted to make. A Christmas Story was a movie that he wanted to make, but the studio wasn't interested. But apparently, he kind of negotiated with them, and they let him make A Christmas Story so that he would also make Porky's 2 for the studio. So basically, we can thank
the studio.
Yeah, we can thank Porky's 2 in a certain sense for one of my favorite movies of all time, A Christmas Story.
Yeah,
we've all seen it a billion times, but I still enjoy it every time I see it.
So
I say God bless Porky's 2 then, because
Yes.
the world would not be the same without A Christmas Story.
Every time I see Porky's 2 sitting on the shelf of the video store, I'm going to stop and say, thank you, Porky's 2.
Now, I know I've seen Porky 2. I remember something about they make fake vomit and put it like in a shampoo bottle in her tit. And then like trust me, if you watch it, there's like fake vomit and tits and bottles and stuff. It's hilarious.
Well, I mean, we talked about tits and bush earlier. I mean, what else do you need? What else needs to be in that formula? Well, apparently it's vomit, or at least fake vomit.
Fake, right. Artificial vomit. If it's real, it's a little more gross.
Right. Then we're starting to get into maybe the kind of like a horror genre or something like that.
Right. And they weren't that ahead of their time.
Right.
By the time they had Porky's 2, they just made a shit ton of money because people are like, hey, you put vulgarity and tits in a movie, it's going to do really well.
Yeah, we've got the formula now.
Right.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I bet if we went back and I haven't watched 2 since I was like in high school. But I bet if I went back and watched, it's going to be horrible.
Probably.
Are you going to do it?
I'll do it. After 48, I'll do it.
All right.
But let's think about the time period that it was made in, though. No internet. Cable TV's really out of it.
You dick.
Oh, sorry. I'll shut up. Go ahead, Gabe.
Fine.
You're doing overall.
Talk about lack of internet. Go ahead.
Nope.
God.
Saving that for
Well, what would American Pie be without internet? Anyway, so let's hit the next category. Let's get into overall. Mike was supposed to start this category. I don't know. Maybe we should let Tom go?
Let Tom go.
Okay. Tom, start us off.
Go, Tom.
I think Porky says a lot about where we were as a country, in the 80s.
Even though it's a...
This is me crumpling up my notes. Take it. Oh, look, a mute button.
Oh.
He's gone. Or the air conditioner stopped.
One of the two.
I'm sweating my ass off. My air conditioner is off. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Tom. Keep going.
I like Mike was going to say about the lack of internet, and it really is basically, commercial porn. Porky's was. And I think it really says about where we were as a country and the desire for porn. And if anybody had an inkling about what the internet was going to become, then it totally makes sense why Porky's was as successful as it was. And I look back on it and I'm like, those sad people who had to leave their homes and go to the movie theater and lay down, what was the ticket, $3? And, publicly put themselves out there because they wanted to see something like this. And it's, and now, I'm sitting, in my office, and if I wanted to, I could, and I don't. This is a place of business, but, you can watch porn anywhere now. So, and I think it's, it's I don't know. It's kind of sad actually that we were ever a place like that. And being the puritanical country that we are, I think it's you know, I watch Porky's now and I just feel dirty about it afterwards. I do. I feel bad for the women in it. And I feel angry towards the men for some reason. I'm like, and this goes for the guys in both movies. If you want to get laid, the approaches that all of you have taken are really the worst way to go about it. I mean, having a bet with your friends and setting a hard deadline is that we're going to get this done by this date is like the worst way to go about losing your virginity, in my opinion.
But the best way to tell a story about losing your virginity, because then you have a timeline,
is to do it the wrong way.
You have to, yes,
True.
You have to have the ticking bomb, as they say in the script writing classes. So, look, and I just, that's what the part about these two movies that was completely lost on me was there's just like, God, these guys are just not. This is not the best way to go about this. So.
But guys never have the right way to go about it anyway, and that's the thing is like, especially American Pie style, like you could. When they break down to, guy talk, how many he actually slept with based on what he said, like, I always thought it was a very clever observation because people have talked about that for a long time about how guys and girls are just different, and notwithstanding lots of other gender stereotypes or what have you, but just how the miscommunication is part of the game, it seems, for most people. Maybe, you think? Possibly.
Well, we're watching these films now in our late 30s, early 40s, so we're a little bit wiser than they're supposed to be, and so we can look back and say, yeah, hey, you're doing it wrong, stupid. But then we wouldn't have listened to ourselves. Like if 37-year-old Mike showed up to 14-year-old Mike and said, look, just be funny, everything's going to work out. I've been like, you're an asshole, get out of my way, or something like that, and just totally ignored it. When did we ever listen to our elders when we're that age?
No, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And like I said, in 1982, I was 6. And in 1999, I was coming out of college, and the sex thing had been around for a while. And so I was already at that point where I was kind of looking at everything else going, huh? What the heck? So I think that's why these two movies were kind of lost on me. One, I was too young, and the other one, I was kind of out of that stage already. So
that's a good point. So you kind of missed both of them.
Yeah, they both kind of miss me, and I try to think of what is my coming of age film, and I don't know, Breakfast Club, I guess, I don't know, but right. That came out a year after Porky's.
Weird Science was my coming of age film, kind of like I'm a dork, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when Harry Met Sally or Sleepless in Seattle, maybe. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of sex in those, but
Murder by Numbers for me.
Yeah. Annie Hall, if I want to go active, I stand.
The Muppet movie.
You got murder. You got Murder by Numbers in there. Oh.
I think Battleship Potemkin was my coming of age.
Oh man,
I don't know what that means.
I knew you were a vampire.
The staircase scene gets him so hot.
It does.
Sorry,
it does.
I was just doing a little research into the cinematographers for both films, and the same cinematographer, Reginald H. Morris, did the cinematography for both Porky's and for Porky's 2 and A Christmas Story. Looks like he worked a lot with the director, Bob Clark. Some of them are kind of lining up. But I wanted to point out that Richard Crudo, who did the cinematography for American Pie, did... Where is it? I thought it was here. Justified, like one of my all-time favorite TV series. He's been on that. So maybe because I love Justified so much and his camera aesthetic just resonated with me. I'm full of shit. I don't know what I'm talking about, but he hasn't really done anything huge except for American Pie.
Yeah, because he had a stroke, and then he had to stop working. No, I'm kidding. He may not. I mean,
Wow, that was a pretty convincing story. I was like, that's sad. I'm kind of sad about this now.
This is me, Sam. When you said that, I scrolled up to his biography, and I'm like, where does it say? What?
Did?
He also.
Oh no, I do. I see where he had his stroke. Yeah, because he was director of photography on that Adam Sandler film Jack and Jill. So that must be the stroke right there.
Oh God, that is there. And
Yeah,
Grudge
That probably caused the stroke.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if what came first, the chicken or the egg, but those things are definitely related.
Second
like,
unit.
Imagine him
Yeah.
like all that he shot. Like, give me the money. He's all Bela Lugosi like and getting some smack at the end.
He was camera operator for Donnie Darko, not Danny Darko. Yeah, Ghostbusters 2, he was the Steadicam assistant. Field of Dreams, he was the Paint and Glide assistant. Boston second unit.
Yeah.
Raising Arizona assistant camera. And The Last Dragon. Holy crap, he was on The Last Dragon.
That'd be a good one to learn from.
So yeah. And he also director of photography second unit on Let's Be Cops, which is a very funny movie if you haven't seen it. So I digress. I also want to talk about music real quick. Both of these.
Is there going to be an award for that?
Whoa!
Keep going.
Real life.
Kind of an inside joke.
Yeah. Both of the films are filled with kind of the pop music of their times, where Bob Clark kind of had to go back, 30 years for that pop music. It was American Pie is very steeped in its culture as far as the music. I was listening to it, I'm like, holy crap, I forgot about that song. Did that happen to any of you guys? I'll take that as a no.
I remember watching the entire movie and just remembering how much I liked the soundtrack, and I was like, gosh, I should have the soundtrack.
And
I should go out and buy it on cassette.
Yeah, get your cassette tape. I felt the same way.
Good luck finding the player. Do you have
not
a player?
nostalgic, but it just made sense with it was a nice presentation of the time it was shot in. So.
Right. And there's like no score for either film. It's all just music that they've borrowed.
Moaning and humping, moaning and
Ironic.
humping.
So
Isn't it ironic that there's no score, but they're both about scoring?
This is where you drop it.
And now we're just rambling on. I have a question for you. Can answer this too, Gabe. I have a question for everyone.
Okay.
Out of both films, who did you connect with the most? Like, who was more like you in high school?
Oh, well, that's different than connecting with.
Yeah.
So I was going to say Allison Hannigan, but that's not what you were asking.
No. Which caricature are you closest to when you were in high school?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Seriously?
Yeah.
Do I have to answer this?
I was
Yes.
like background extra number 4. It was just
I'm
like
serious.
me, I swear.
Lacrosse player. No. Did you guys notice in the cast list for Porky's? There's like half the cast list is like lacrosse players. There's like 20 of them on.
You mean American Pie?
Yeah.
Oh, American Pie. Yeah, I'm sorry.
American Pie,
Yeah,
yeah.
American Pie. Yeah.
I was
know.
kind of a cross
I
between
guess-
Finch and Kevin, to be honest with you.
Finch and Kevin?
I was a cross between Finch and Kevin, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sam?
There, see. Yeah.
Mrs. Stifler. Stifler's mom.
You can't take the same one I took. Mine was
I don't know.
mine was Tara Reid. No, mine was Oz. Like I was
Really?
yeah, like I was the bigger guy. I didn't play sports, but I don't know. I wasn't a womanizer either. I had steady girlfriends. And I guess he doesn't have steady girlfriends, but he kind of falls for Mina Suvari, which I would also. So I don't know. I connected more with Oz, and he seemed to be more like I was in high school. Tom, is yours
Yeah.
Gabe, is yours more like Pee-wee or Meat or?
Well, I mean, that was the only one
Ballbreaker?
left, really, right? No, I was gonna say I was a little more like Jason Biggs' character, maybe kind of like
Instead of a pie, it was a cake.
right.
Angel food
Well, back in my day,
Angel food cake.
Angel food cake, yes, yeah, I like
big
it.
opening. It's
But
Have you
already
guys
had
ever
the
heard
hole in
of
it.
Baker Square?
Yeah, it already had the hole. Yeah, just had to put a little frosting in there. Good. Yeah, no, it was where I don't know. I wasn't particularly athletic, and I was really interested in scoring, but didn't have a lot of luck with it. And it was just kind of unexpected when it happened, and that kind of thing. So I feel like I was more like Jason Biggs' character.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, there you go. That answers my question.
All right. You guys have anything else for overall?
No, I just want to vote.
No. Okay,
I'm
let's
pretty
vote.
humiliated, so you go
All
ahead.
right, Mike.
I'm pretty humiliated. Why are you humiliated?
I don't know.
Tom sounds so down
I just
about it.
way too much information's been given out in this podcast. I'm not happy with it at all, and I need all copies burned.
Right. Well, Mike will have to edit it for you, right?
Yeah,
Before
sure.
your wife can hear it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Wink.
Thanks. She doesn't
Okay.
listen to
So,
it.
Mike, what's
I'm going with American Pie. Overall, American Pie.
All right.
I mean, as much as I enjoy the scenes in Porky's, I would watch it for those scenes and take it out. American Pie, I can watch all the way through.
So that'd make Porky's about 5 minutes long.
Exactly.
Yeah, if that. Although that one long take, the where they're all laughing.
Tallywhacker scene.
What I can't Tallywhacker. The Tallywhacker scene is probably 5 minutes in and of itself.
Yeah. So a 10-minute movie for me.
All right. Yeah. 7 minutes. Okay. Tom, what's your vote?
Oh, American Pie.
Okay. And Sam?
Yeah, American Pie.
All right.
We're all so
Okay.
excited.
This isn't going to take very long, I can tell you right now, to tally up the votes. But while we do that, how about we go through some picks, and we'll start with Mike. What's your pick
Can you go to
this
someone else?
month?
Go to someone else, please.
Okay, how about Tom?
Yeah.
All right, Tom.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Tom, speak slowly and clearly for your pick.
So just to prove that I'm not a prude or anything, because I wasn't too thrilled about either of these movies, my recommendation is the HBO sports mockumentary 7 Days in Hell with Andy Samberg and Kit Harington from Game of Thrones. It's a mockumentary about a 7-day tennis match at Wimbledon. It is as crude and just disturbing, just a very, very disturbing film across the board. There's a lot of penises in it. There's a lot of boobs. There's all different kinds of sex for whatever your appetite is.
Wow.
It's really absolutely hilarious. My wife and I watched it last night, and it's really, really funny, but it was way more involved than I thought it would be. And the people that they got involved in it, I don't want to list them all off. John McEnroe's in it, and June Squibb is in it, and a bunch of people from Saturday Night Live are in it, of course. It is really, really funny, and it's worth checking out. It's on HBO, HBO Go, HBO Now. You can check it out. But it's really, really fun. It's really funny, and it is way over the line than either of the two movies we talked about tonight in terms of what they try to do. So I thought it was fantastic. So check it out. 7 Days in Hell. hilarious, kind of cheeky.
Did you say you watched it on Netflix?
Did I watch it on Netflix?
No, you probably can't get it on Netflix yet.
No, it's on HBO, so you got to watch
it.
HBO Go or HBO Now. It just came out. Today's Monday. It came out last night. So,
okay, all right.
It's brand new. So, yeah, it's fantastic, and I really loved it. So,
ooh, that sounds
cool.
awesome.
So, are you ready, Sam?
Sure.
Are you ready?
I'm going to recommend a book.
Did you say what were you going to recommend?
No, I'm not going to recommend a book. Sorry. I was, but
can we do that? Because there's 2 books coming out tomorrow I want to talk about. No? Okay. All right. Whatever.
Save it for Booksmack.
Yeah, save it for Booksmack.
That would have even less
hilarious
listeners than this podcast. But you can do some real damage with books, though, so you got to be careful out there. Take it from me. I have been recently discovering the world of Inside Amy Schumer on Comedy Central, and loving my DVR as much as I do. I don't like to watch commercials at all, so I'm kind of limited sometimes on the new shows that I watch. But thankfully, I started recording this one, and I've sped through every episode that I could get my hands on, because Amy Schumer is kind of dirty and funny and sexy and really relevant and focused on what's happening around us and showing us in a different way. So if you haven't checked out Inside Amy Schumer on Comedy Central, you should, because it's very funny, and she also has a lot of really great guest appearances on that show. So.
I've watched a few of the episodes. I think they are pretty funny, Sam. And plus,
they're dirty. I mean,
they are.
Keeping with this theme, there's some really filthy stuff going on in some of them. So.
Okay, Mike.
Okay, now I'm ready. I'm going to go with my
right.
second favorite Sean William Scott movie, and it's The Rundown. I don't know why, but I really like this movie. I mean, it's got The Rock. It has Chris Walken in it. So if you want something like a little fun, mindless action movie, check out The Rundown. And I'm done.
Okay, cool. My pick this month is kind of a sophomoric, lowbrow humor type movie that has these moments of kind of brilliant social commentary, and I'm suggesting you go out and see Idiocracy. It's not necessarily a great movie all the way through, but there are some points in it where it really makes a statement on society and where we're going, and as far as marketing and education and those kinds of things. And it's a movie that I'll watch if it's on TV because I get a kick out of it. But it is kind of sophomoric, lowbrow, a little dirty here and there, but pretty enjoyable. So
I like that movie because I feel like it's a documentary from the future, the way we're heading.
It feels like it sometimes,
it does.
For sure. Okay, so the monkey counted up the votes, and it was really difficult this episode to calculate this. It's very close.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Your winner by decision is American Pie!
One piece of trivia, that one thing that Porky's did get, it didn't get any of our votes, but it did get some box office, which I wanted to talk about. I meant to do that at the end of the overall section. Apparently, it's still among the top, if not the top, grossing films out of Canada. Even now, today, it's still right up there, which I find pretty amazing. I don't know, maybe.
I'm sorry. Porky's is Canadian? Porky's is Canadian?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I need to handicap some of my votes. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, apparently Yeah, apparently Porky's, the production company, was from Canada.
Yeah.
Now, they did get some assistance from American production companies, and they did film in Florida. But it's often considered a Canadian film, and it's, like I said, among the highest grossing, which I find. Yeah, maybe it says something about the state of Canadian, film industry, but I don't know. So anyway, that was trivia I meant to throw in there. It didn't get any votes, but it made plenty of money. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Canadian humor is some of our best humors.
Best.
Am I still here?
It's true. It is true. Actually.
What's that?
Can anybody hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
I can.
Hello? Hello?
No one's listening to me. Is it my mic off?
No, I'm listening to you.
I'm not joking. Like some of our best comedians come from Canada. Like half the people on Saturday Night Live come from Canada.
Well, I guess so. Saturday Night Live.
That wasn't meant as a joke. I was absolutely serious. So.
Well, Eugene Levy, right?
Hey, I'm serious, guy. There's lots of people that come from Canada that are funny. Tell us what it's all about. All right. No, he's
This
right.
podcast has crossed the line, and I'm
Canadians are fun.
not happy.
Yeah, Eugene
There's
Levy's
your
from
fact.
Hamilton, Ontario.
I'm
Yeah, there you go. Isn't Jim
Welcome
Carrey
back
from?
to Canada.
Yeah, Jim Carrey
Yeah,
and Mike Myers.
we need to do that.
and
Let's-
Seth Meyer and Michael J. Fox.
They're all named. There you go.
William Shatner.
Yeah.
Look,
When Morrissey?
Is William
That's
Shatner actually
As
Canadian?
far as
or is that a joke?
William Shatner is
I
from
don't-
Canada. I swear. Here,
I
I'll
thought he
look it
was
up.
from
It's
Riverside.
been a
Oh
great
no
show,
way.
you guys. It's been a really great show.
this podcast has gone off the rails. Like Montreal, Quebec.
Okay, well let's get it back on the rails.
All right.
And tell us a little bit about where we can find you. Go ahead, Mike.
You can find me on Facebook and Twitter. You can follow Southsider Studios. You can also check out our mini podcasts on iTunes. Just search Southsider Studios.
Okay. Tom.
you can find me at Wedding Day Rewind on Facebook and, Cheshire Moon Films. I'm usually at the office. My apologies to the country of Canada. That was totally uncool. They are the second largest country by something or other. I don't know. I'm trying to look it up quickly on Wikipedia. I'm not doing a good job, but just know that the entire panel does not speak for me on behalf of the Great White North.
What did I
So
say
there.
about Canadians?
I may not be on the show next time. You hit a nerve. You just hit a nerve. That's all.
Are you moving to Canada?
No. Quite frankly, it's the other way around. Whatever that means. Just keep laughing. I don't
He's getting
understand.
his American citizenship. He's Canadian.
Look, if somebody had done the same
Okay,
joke and said it about Mexico, it would have been like dead silence. So I think we got a double standard here. No one's making jokes about Guam. So
Uruguay?
I think
Like
we're done.
a Uruguay joke
Yeah.
would be really nice right now.
Yeah, it would.
Just to
Really
break
knocks
the tension a
them
little bit.
flat.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody wants to find me, they can find me online on Facebook. And also, I'll be quite busy with the 48-hour film project for the last part of this summer. So you can find out about that at 48hourfilm.com/20.
Okay, great. And then you can find me on Facebook if you care to look. All right. So for August, we dig a shallow grave and find the treasure of the Sierra Madre. That's right. We're pitting Danny Boyle's Shallow Grave against John Huston's Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Be sure to tune in for that. That'll be an interesting one.
We're doing
What's that? What?
We're doing John Huston and Danny Boyle again. We just did Bob Clark. We're gonna have to start.
Yeah,
making
was
a
it,
list of
Somebody on this
Of
panel
all
is a
these
big
common-
Danny Boyle fan.
I wonder who that might
I bet
be.
he likes books.
He's probably an avid
I like-
reader.
He's got taste.
Danny
Like,
Boyle,
I think
books
he's got.
in Canada. Don't.
I'm gonna get you books about Danny Boyle in Canada. for Christmas
Danny
now.
Boyle's Treks in Canada.
Danny Boyle's Canada. That's what it'll be called.
I'll have
Be
you
about
know,
his travels through
There you
Canada.
go. But it's got to be a comedy, Got to be a comedy.
keep laughing, Keeler. Keeler gave me a book about Danny Boyle already. So.
I did. That's what I'm laughing about.
I did. I did.
Perfect.
That's what I'm laughing about. Oh man,
Oh, my
I'm sorry.
God.
I have tears in my eyes. This is the Tallywhacker scene all over again. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm sorry. I don't mean. Just when you said books, Danny Boyle in Canada, I just want to get a T-shirt for Tom that just says that. Kind of like the Beats Bears and Battlestar Galactica from The Office.
Okay, Gabe, take it home.
Okay. All right. For Mike, Sam, Tom, and myself, thanks for listening, and go catch a flick from Canada.
Now, I just want you to know that it's a perfectly normal thing, and I have to admit, I did a fair bit of masturbating when I was a little younger. I used to call it stroking the salami. Yeah, pounding the old bun. I never did it with baked goods. But your Uncle Mort, he pets the one-eyed snake 5-6 times a day.
Do your Christopher Walken.
Oh no, that's okay. I don't think anybody's gonna do it.
Am I supposed to say something? to the. Okay, hang on a second. I got it. Stop the recording. Our home and native land. True patriot. Love in awe thy son's command. This doesn't sound like Christopher Walken. I sound like Kevin Spacey from House of Cards.
or maybe
voice?
Captain Kirk.
This has been a test of the Southsider Studios podcast system. This was only a test. If this were a true lack of entertainment, your head would explode. Go to iTunes and subscribe to our feed. Just search Southsider Studios.